Hi, and welcome to the gojenn Planner podcast. Today is November the 1st, so I want to welcome you. If you're new to the podcast, thanks for joining me and giving us a try. If you're one of my returning faithful, thank you so much for coming back. Here in Southern Virginia, it's a cloudy, chilly day. It's rained earlier, so it's just good sweater weather. Sweater weather, if you've seen that on Saturday Night Live. At any rate, I want you to get you something nice and warm to drink, pull up a chair, and let's spend a couple minutes together. Of course, if today's November 1st, last night was Halloween, and this is my grandson as Link from the game Legend of Zelda, the video game. He is quite the gamer now, and he painted his own shield. I thought that was purchased. I asked my daughter where she got it, and my grandson painted it. And yes, he does have on a neat Zelda crocheted cap, crocheted by his favorite Grammy. His other Gram is Nana, so she's his favorite Nana. I'm his favorite Grammy. I wanted to just take a look back at the blanket squares I've made during the month of October. Besides my big projects, I tend to just make these smaller blanket squares. This is the Paola Tunisian crochet wrap. This has to be done by the end of November, so I've really got to get myself going on this. This yarn is the Gnome Acres in the House Gnome base. The colorway's Dean Winchester. And I think I've only used about 15 grams of yarn, so I've really got to kick it up. I've gotten the 3-row repeat down pretty much in my head. It's just a matter of making myself sit and work on this. I try to really divide my crafting time between this and my Hpkchc, which you see there. It has 27 teeth now. This is in the Supernatural Yarns Kelpie sock base. The colorway is Hermione Granger. And I've used about half of a 100-gram ball of that yarn. So you see that the rows are getting wider and wider, so they're using more and more yarn. The pattern calls for 41 teeth. I'm going to hopefully just see where I run out of yarn. I love this. It is just garter stitch back and forth. It's making me really happy, except I have a little boo-boo in it where I had dropped a stitch, and I picked it up and thought that I had fixed it, and went on with my knitting, and then I don't know when I did it, and I found it, and now it's a little hole, and I'm going to have to somehow camouflage that. It just hurt my feelings to realize I'd done that. Since this is November 1st, it's a new month for the Harry Potter Knitting and Crochet group on Ravelry. We have homework assignments, air quotes, where we make different things. And I'm going to be making blanket squares this month for any of the classes. And you will see that I have pulled out the sock yarn, and I've kind of jotted down the prompts for the classes so that I can make my list of which ones I'm going to do which blanket squares for. And this list will get tweaked quite a bit as the month goes on and I complete squares. I'm going to be taking this as my at-work project because I think it takes me about 2 or 3 of my lunch hours to make one sock yarn blanket square. So that's going to be my at-work crafting, and that'll leave my at-home crafting time for the Paola and for the Hpkchc. And that is my plan. So now we're ready for the flip through of my Foxy Fix faux Midori, faux Hobonichi, faux whatever, because it's just my inserts in a leather cover. and I can't express how happy it makes me. It makes me smile just when I look at it, just to know that it's mine. And the little charm there is actually a stitch marker that came from Star Knits on Etsy, and it's a little Ravenclaw insignia, and that makes me happy too. So these are my two books that I have used for October. The one on the left was my October art journal, and on the right is a field notes notebook that was my journal for the month. So let's look through and see what's in them. In my journal, if you watched my special episode on how easy it is to decorate your journal without any artistic ability, I'm filling up those pages that I prepared. I've had a real battle here on this page, a battle with myself making me go to sleep before 10:30. I have to get up at 6 in the morning to get to work on time at 7. And I don't like going to bed because I don't want to waste my time that's my time at night. And so I've been battling that, and I'm trying to make myself go to bed by 10:30. And that's something that I'm going to add to my list of things that I keep up with on a daily basis. Okay, more journaling, and I use that little library card as a things to do this weekend and check them off. And here on the left, this page was the one that I just went back and forth with the colored pencils and then got it wet, the watercolor pencils. And I think this was the last page that I decorated. And it really made me sad to turn the next page, and there was nothing done already. So I had to add stickers and some washi tape because it was just too bland with nothing. So I've really spoiled myself for pretty planning now. I don't go overboard, but I really enjoy having the color there. See, these two pages have nothing, and I think I was just trying to finish out my journal, write a little bit about what Halloweens I remember from the past and what's coming up in November. It's kind of bittersweet. I know that sounds ridiculous, but the month is gone. October's gone. Here it's November, which means Christmas is right here. But one journal's gone, a new fresh one's going in. And here's where I keep up with my how many hours a day I've been crafting. Out of the month of October, I only had 2 days that I didn't craft at all. So I'm really going for crafting every single day. But, some days you just don't have it in you. And this is my art journal. On the left is a quote from Neil Gaiman, who is one of my favorite authors. If you remember, I got the Do magazine, D-O, and it has a bunch of color-in templates inside the magazine itself, and so I just cut one of those out and colored it in. That made me really, really happy. The Divas Challenge for her website is I Am the Diva, and she has a Zentangle prompt every Monday, and this week was about to take inspiration from stacked rocks. So I went and looked at some of that on the internet, and then I found the little ancient figurines of the woman goddess, and I tried to do that, but it didn't really make me happy, but I did what I could. And, and then I practiced my Zentangles some more. I think I'm really improving a lot, and I'm sure that that's because it's daily practice, and I just have so much fun trying to do something really beautiful with this. more Zentangle practice. On the right there, I had a sticker and it looked kind of like I could make butterfly wings, and I got sidetracked and just didn't go back and do anything with it. And on the left, I was going to do 2 monotangles, which a monotangle, mono 1, would be like the entire drawing is made out of one tangle. And I was going to do that, but then down at the bottom, I got kind of carried away with the different types of filling in patterns, and so much for that. Plans don't always equal the finished product. This was my fortune cookie for this day, the 29th. Even if you're on the right track, you'll still get run over if you just sit there. And that's really true. And I think that's something that I have trouble with, because I get comfortable in my same spot that I'm sitting, and I say, wow, I've done really well. Look how far I've come. And then I kind of tend to want to just sit there. So I have to really push myself. I have to push myself to follow through with ideas, because sometimes I can really come up with a lot of good ideas. The follow through is what my problem. I really have trouble with follow through, because my idea of follow through is saying, that's a great idea, I'll do something on that next week. And then next week never gets here. The 5 on Fridays challenge was to use orange or black paper, to use a black or purple pen, to include apples or pumpkins, a spider, and seasonal, something seasonal. So I'd use the black paper to make those big spiders, and I drew my pumpkin, and I drew the bushel of apples, and I was really pleased with this. I thought it came out very well. These pages, I love this challenge because I tend to get really stuck in a rut. I love doing the Zentangle practice. So it takes something like these challenges like this to really help me come up with something that's different. And then I'm always happy with it. I found another group on Facebook that I really enjoy. It's called the Tangle It Facebook group. And they had a challenge. They posted this drawing of the ghosts, and then you just had to fill them in. And so this was how I chose to do it. And then another challenge was to use the Zentangle called, and I'm going to probably say it wrong, I would say Bruges, like Bruges crochet lace. I don't know. But I really, I like that. It's a neat tangle, so I will hopefully use that a lot in the future. And these are some of my favorite tangles from the month. So I can't say how happy this makes me either, because it just fills my heart and makes me go, yay, I did that. Because this is follow through. So yay, I did something that was follow through. I had some extra pages in the back of my art journal this month, so I just tore them out, and I'm going to use them for scrap paper or paper to put on the back of a page if I decide to paint or watercolor. So I didn't want you to think that I work all of my books out to exactly the right number of pages. Let's see. This is the past week, the plan for it, and you see how nice and neat it was. This was last Sunday, and I was pleased that I had gotten it nice and neat. And by the end of the week, this is how it looked. And just no matter how hard I try, I tend to get excited and draw happy or sad faces, mark stuff out, make notes. So I tried. This is this coming week. So it's nice and neat for now. I don't have that much planned. This is my November calendar, and you see for the whole month, I don't have hardly anything really down. Got to go to the dentist. The bloodmobile's coming to work. It'll be my husband and I's anniversary on the 22nd, and then I'm off the week of Thanksgiving, the whole week. And that's about it, besides keeping track with the score that the Ravens lose by, because they're having a terrible season. Absolutely terrible. Baltimore Ravens. I'm still a fan. I'm still here. But I think they made some catastrophic trades during the off season. The core of the team seems to be gone. And I'm hoping they'll be able to find that somewhere. This is just a picture I had to include of my dogs. They got their bath on Friday, and they're just my little Maltese babies. My little boy that's on the left of this picture, he licks constantly. Part of that is because he's a rescue, and he was in a puppy mill, and apparently the only thing he had to do to pass the time was to pace his little cage and lick his feet constantly. So he stains. His mustache and his feet get stained from all of his licking, but doesn't matter. He's still a very sweet boy. These are my new books for November. The book on the left is my last Moleskine notebook that I have left. When I first started in June with the planner that I have now, I got some of the Moleskine notebooks from Amazon. I think it's 3 for $10, and I'm glad to go back into that kind of notebook. I like the paper. I like their grids. The paper is not stark white. It is a little bit of an off-white with maybe a green tinge or something, but I really enjoy that. And then I'm going to use the Field Notes book for my art journal this month, my Zentangling and everything. It is a dot grid, and if you remember September, I believe, I was in a dot grid notebook and I hated it, so I want to use them up. And so it can be my art book. I just don't do well in a dot grid. I like a regular grid. And that's one of the things that you don't know when you start off in the planners. You don't know if you like the dot grid or just the lines or plain paper with no lines or anything. You have to try them and find out. And I liked getting a variety pack where I could get one lined, one graph or grid, and then one of the dots, so that you can try it and see which do you like best. I truly like the grid or the lines for my journal that I'm going to be writing in, and I like either a plain page with nothing on it or maybe a really pale grid. So, we'll just see how it goes. I know now, and I've been doing the planner since June, and I've learned quite a few things. I've learned I don't like the dot grids. I've learned the paper I like. I've learned the pens I like, which ones bleed, which ones don't. It's just a learning process as you go through, and I'm loving it. I am truly, truly, truly loving it. This was my loot for the week. The vendor is Blackbeard Prints from Etsy. I placed my order on Monday, and it came in Saturday's mail. So this is my kind of shop. I have vowed not to patronize any more of the Etsy shops that takes them weeks and weeks to get stickers to you. I think that's just utterly ridiculous. I think if you can't do better than that, you need to close your shop. That's my personal opinion. But this is one whole pack that you see that's in the pink and teal colors. That's a whole pack that had, checklists and banners and the bear stickers. And then I got extra sheets of the bears in different colors. And I love them. I think they are so stinking cute. I'm sure you're going to be seeing them. They're going to be popping up all the time in my journal because I love them. And they're matte stickers, so you write what you need to write on their little tummies. Oh, gosh, does that make me happy? So I hope that you're doing something with your crafts or with your planner that makes you so happy your face gets tired of grinning. Mine's like that. I love it, and I hope you do too. I hope your journal or your crafting makes you that happy. And that's all I have. I hope that you'll come back next week. I try to podcast every Sunday. And until then, I wish you a week filled with lots and lots of laughter and love. Thanks.